There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you all being here. Happy Friday to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Hopefully, you're having a good day wherever you are, whatever Friday that you're having. Hopefully, it's a good Friday. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, we have a lot to go over tonight, and I'm hoping that wherever you are, you're staying cool too. Because I don't know about you guys, but this has been miserable hot, in where I am in Kentucky. Okay, so let's get into the Oh, I forgot to push that button there. The people are on podcasts probably listening to complete quietness. All right, in just a second, we're going to put sub chat on TikTok because people can't behave like normal human beings. And so that's how we do it. That's how we roll. And there we go. I wear eyeshadow, but thank you for looking at my eyes. You want to look a little more? Is that better? Which angle? Which angle do you prefer? I don't wear eyeshadow, but thank you for looking at my eyes. Remember, my eyes are up here. Okay? Right here. Sorry. So what are you going to do? Come on. What are you going to do? Now I'm wearing eyeshadow. Okay. Well, I tell you what. Well, at least they're looking at my eyes. I mean, that's, it's, hey, how you doing? How you doing on a Friday night? Okay. Yeah, I should do purple eyeshadow. That's what I should do, purple eyeshadow. All right. Yeah. It's a Friday night. What are you going to do? It's Friday night. Come on. No, that's the video. That's the camera, Mr. Producer. That's the camera. Okay, folks. So let's get some business. Let's get some business out of the way so then we can get into our presentation. Presentation. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. You got to have a sense of humor. See, that's the thing. A lip gloss. Yeah. Well, I will tell a story. Okay, I will tell. It's a funny story. So when I first started Ticker Talkers, I didn't even know what I was doing. I had no clue. I had no idea what I was doing. So I did a duet on a video, and I had no. This is the first video I didn't know, and so I was watching it, and I was thinking, oh yeah, blah, telling my. And then I pushed post. I thought, well, okay, push post, and it posted on my TikTok. And I thought, okay, great, that's great, congratulations, and let's go to another video. A friend of mine says, James, you might want to take that video down. I was like, no, it was a good video. It was a good, paranormal video. What's wrong with it? And they said, didn't you listen to the music? I was like, what music? And it was some song about, I don't know, some woman's behind. And there was no song when I did a duet. I had no idea what I was doing. I just pushed the duet button. And I thought that's what you're supposed to do. But there was no music. And I pushed post. And he's like, yeah, you got to take that down. I mean, it was apparently a nasty song. I listen to John Denver. What do you want from me? What do you want? Anyway, but that was my way of having, and then one time so TikTok did an update and people kept telling me that, you should, not wear lipstick. And it was making me mad because I was getting irritated. It was like, stop, what? I'm trying to do a show here. I'm not wearing lipstick. Knock it off. And they kept saying, your red is not your color. Red is not your color. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm turning it off. And I was getting ready to turn it off, and I looked at the camera. I had ruby red lipstick all on my face, rouge, like I was like, what the heck is this? It was some filter that I had on that automatically put it on when I went live. I didn't even pay attention to it. So I had these little red ruby cheeks with this reddest lipstick you could possibly imagine. I mean, it was just like, I was like, what the hell? How did that happen? I can tell you, I do not look good as a woman. I will tell you that 100% right now. After what I saw that filter, no. So I am, yeah, it's like, no. Yeah, Mr. Producer is dying over there. It's true. But I did that. I was like, that's the thing, guys. You gotta laugh at yourself, Okay. Believe me, there's a lot to laugh at here. There's a lot of Where do you start? Okay. If you want to go to our sponsors' websites, we would love for you guys to do that. It's KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. If you head on over there, make sure you click on the shop button. This is now, okay, now we got to get serious. This is serial. This is serial here. So here's why. When you go to kgradb.com and you click on the shop button, I want you to click on my name. And then there is a shop there. And there's all kinds of really awesome things you can buy. Now, here's what you need to know. 100% of the profits that I would make off selling off, the Sacred Division and St. Michael, all that stuff, 100% of that is going to be donated to the MKS Kids Foundation. It is an orphanage in Africa. I know the person who is running it. He is fantastic. He has a heart of gold. And they are desperate. I mean, they've had some rough times. So they take in kids, obviously, from in Africa who are orphans, and they give them a roof over their head. They give them food, clean water, education. So they give them a chance at life. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, we got to take care of our own. You know what? That's not very Christian behavior. We can take care of America, and also we can take care of other people as well. So this is not an either or situation. And I said this a million times over again. Children who are orphans in the United States compared to, like, for example, in certain parts of Africa is night and day, meaning that kids and orphans, that I've talked about this. You see the orphans in Africa, they have a big, huge stomach, and you're thinking, well, they must have ate a big old meal. No, it's parasites in their stomach from the unclean drinking water, and they have parasites. It's not because they have a big old meal. So there's a big difference between the two. And so I found this organization on TikTok. I've been following them ever since. And I absolutely want to help them out to the best of my ability. And that's what I do. And you're right, poverty exists, but we can help. So here's how you help. Just go to KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. KGRADB.com. Click on the shop link. We haven't been doing so great. I mean, we've gotten a few orders, but we definitely need to pick it up. And I think we're going to pick it up a lot more, obviously, in the fall and the winter. But nonetheless, we're just starting. We just rolled this out. So it takes a while for traction. Anyway, just make sure you do that and go from there. Let me block this person who is a mental midget. There you go. Bye-bye. All right. So anyway, make sure you go check that out. We would love for you guys to do that. Now, if you want to go to my website, you certainly can, bishopjameslong.com. There it is. It's all there for you. And then the church's website is usocc.org. usocc.org. By the way, don't forget we have night prayer tonight, as we always do. So people always say, you don't ever talk about Jesus. Well, you never show up for 5 days a week, because 5 days a week we do. Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have night prayer. We pray for one another. I teach about the scriptures. Sundays and Wednesdays, we have Bible study at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So before those of you who are going to pass judgment saying we don't ever talk about Jesus, again, read scripture. Thou shalt not judge part. So anyway, okay. So we're going to put on sub chat here in a moment on TikTok, because people can't behave like normal human beings on a Friday night. You're actually trolling clergy on a Friday night. Let me go a little bit slower. You're trolling clergy. This is serious. This is my serious face. You're trolling clergy on Friday night. You really don't have a life. If that's your idea of fun, that you're troll clergy on Friday night, dude, go out to the movies. Go watch a movie. I mean, Superman is playing. Just seriously. Oh, your flag is hate speech and hateful behaviors. See, isn't that interesting? The trolls can repeat this bullshit, but when we stand up to them, then they falsely report that. Yeah. Let's see. My live does not contain the content. No, it does not. Submit. So there we go, guys. That's how TikTok works. That's why TikTok is becoming demonic. Because the trolls, those who are demonically influenced, have control. That's it. So we're going to start over again, and we'll be back. I'm telling you, TikTok has become a cesspool for demonic activity. It has become a cancer. I really am starting to get kind of sick and tired of TikTok. To be honest with you, I'm kind of growing, because 90% of it is trolls. It's trolls. And it's getting to a point where I understand I got the followers and all that stuff, but it's not worth the hassle, because then I go live again and then they just come back and start all the trouble again. And that's what they do. So when you stand up for yourself against the trolls, then what they do is they mass report. They all show up at once and they mass report, and then they cause you to get a violation. And then what you have to do is restart the TikTok so it clears it out. But yet they constantly continue to troll and troll and troll, and not a damn thing gets done with those people who troll. Nothing. Matter of fact, it's almost like TikTok cherishes the trolls more than they do the content creators. Well, it's not almost, it is. It is. 100%. So I'm just kind of getting tired of TikTok, almost to the point where I don't even really want to restart it. But I will. Because I'm not going to punish everybody else. And people say, you know, boy, Bishop Long has, I wish he stopped talking about so many of the trolls. You sit in my chair. Let's see how long you can handle it. All right, so let me start this again and go from there. Okay, and we're going to put sub chat on right now. And that will be on for the rest of the night. Okay, now before I was rudely interrupted. Well, let's, come on. Hello. Okay, so now we're going to get started here. There we go. There we go. And here we go. Yeah. You would have to, you truly would have to have the patience of a saint. And seriously, in order to run on TikTok, you have to, because if you don't, you won't make it, because it has become really a cesspool of demonic behavior, which actually is applauded and even supported by the people who own it. Okay, let's get into our cryptids. How is that? How is that? This tonight's gonna be a cool show. We're gonna have a really interesting conversation. Now that we have, well, sub chat's gonna be on for the rest of the night. I'm not turning it off. As a matter of fact, I might put sub chat on permanently for now on. Okay, that actually sounds like a good idea. I like that idea. But they can still report you. So even if you have sub chat on, they'll still report you. So that doesn't really fix anything. All right, let's go. Yeah, oh yeah, they still can, and they do. So my friends, we're going to get into, before I was rudely interrupted, tonight we embark on a journey into the shadowy corners of our world. It is a realm that is filled with mysterious creatures and whispers from the dark, stories that challenge our very perception of reality. We're going to talk about cryptids. Cryptids are creatures whose existence hovers on the edge of myth and reality. It's haunted human imagination for centuries. Now, some believe that they are relics of the ancient world, you know, surviving in hidden pockets of the earth. Others dismiss them as just mere folklore. But for those who have seen or experienced these phenomena firsthand, the question remains, are we truly alone? You know, a lot of people talked about Bigfoot and Bigfoot being a cryptid. And they ask me all the time if I believe Bigfoot exists. I do. I do. And I believe this because there's far too many people who have seen this creature. Far too many people. And because so many people have expressed seeing them, they have nothing to gain by lying. So they're not selling a book. They're not trying to get on a television show. There's no ulterior motive. Now, but for those who have seen or experienced the phenomenon firsthand, the question remains, are we truly alone? I don't think so. Matter of fact, I would think, and I'll talk about this again, but I do believe that I saw a cryptid. The more and more I think about that creature that I saw at the gates of hell, the more and more I think it was Mothman. Because I'm looking into more of the descriptions that people say that this Mothman is supposed to look like, and to me it looked almost identical, but realistic. It was real. It wasn't that golden, or I'll explain later on. So we're going to prepare yourself for a voyage into legends that remain unresolved, sightings that defy explanation, testimonies even that will send shivers down your spine. So my friends, this is a journey into the world of cryptids. All right, let's talk about this. The world is vast and its mysteries are innumerable. And so while science has illuminated like much of the darkness, there remain shadows or the unknown truths with the possibility of the extraordinary. And this is where we're going into cryptids, creatures that dwell in both, some people would say imagination, other people say complete existence. Now, these enigmatic beings captivate our deepest fears and even fascination. They're a standing testament to the uncharted recesses of the earth and the mind that's alike. And you're right. Every time you hear of Mothman, it's always right before some type of craziness, you know. Well, connection's fine, Aaron. You have to refresh. So cryptids are creatures whose existence is suggested, but unproven by scientific consensus. Okay, so they inhabit the realm of cryptozoology. It's a field that melts folklore with the pursuit of discovery. So unlike like fairy tale monsters, or cryptids are rooted in true testimonials. Well, okay, if this is, okay, guys, I can't keep stopping every time because this is getting, okay, moderators, let me know if the stream is fine. Otherwise, I'm going to turn TikTok off for tonight because this is becoming a problem. So if it's a problem, then I'm just going to cut it off. And we'll just go to face because I'm being distracted here. Yeah, because I'm being distracted. Now I'm starting to get pissed off. Okay. All right. So just let me know if it's a problem. I'll just turn it off for the night. We'll be done. I'm over TikTok right now anyway. So just let me know. Okay. Now, oh yeah, on Facebook and everybody else is fine. It should be fine there too. So I don't know what's going on, but it's becoming distracting. I'm very, very distracted right now. If it's that bad, I can if it's that bad, I can turn the iPad off and restart it. This is becoming a mess. If it's that bad, I'll restart the iPad. Then why is everybody saying to me that it's a problem? Bear with me, guys. Technical issue. Got to fix it. Okay. Technology. You got to love it. We're also having some rain and storms here, so, and it could be Spectrum. Spectrum, I think, is cryptid. I think Spectrum is definitely, I think a cryptid is running Spectrum, quite honestly. That's what I think. All right, but unlike fairy tale monsters, cryptids are rooted in testimonials, fleeting encounters, tantalizing traces that suggest there's more out there than meets the eye. And among the ranks of cryptids, you'll find what is called the snowbound yeti, the elusive Loch Ness monster, the hair-raising chupacabra, and of course the Mothman, just to name a few. Yeah, the Mothman is running spectrum. I think so. Yeah. So let's go into the history. The roots of cryptids stretch deep into history, intertwining with like myths and legends and the early chronicles of human civilization from the annals of ancient times. There was actually stories of monstrous beings emerged, not as entertainment, but as living testimonies to the unexplainable forces that loom beyond the campfire's glow. And that's what's so powerful, is that these beings, these stories have been talked about for centuries. Centuries. So it's not just a new thing. A lot of people talk about, well, it's new. It is not. The tales of cryptids can be traced to ancient civilizations. For example, in Mesopotamia, it's a land that was steeped in myth. The Epic of Gilgamesh recounts monstrous apparitions alongside divine beings. Matter of fact, we talked about them a couple of weeks ago. The Sumerians etched stories of menacing creatures upon clay tablets, suggesting that they were more than just fantasy. They were a collection and a recollection of encounters with these beings. As a matter of fact, in ancient Greece, the notion of hybrid beast, part human, part animal, thrived. And there's even the vile Minotaur of Crete lurking within the labyrinth shadow. Echoes the cryptid archetype. It's a hidden, fearsome creature that challenges understanding. And then as the Dark Ages enveloped Europe, encounters with strange beasts intensified amid the shadowy forest and the fog-laden rooms and buildings, and often branded as omens, harbingers of doom. These creatures were chronicled in everything from manuscripts to wandering tales, but even in the Renaissance, there was accounts of the Kraken, a gargantuan sea monster capable of dragging entire ships into the abyss. Well, everybody says it's fine there. So it began circulating. And then seafarers whispered tales of titanic tentacles, rising from the depths, gripping them perpetually. So the point is, we see this all the way from ancient times to even in the industrial age, when, it's a drive for exploration, brought tales of cryptids into skeptical light. And even into empirical science, yet as civilization spread, so did tales of wild and the inexplicable. And North America's vast wilderness birthed the Bigfoot, the lumbering silhouette eternally retreating into the forest. And let me tell you something, there are people, Native Americans, my grandmother, my grandfather were Native Americans. And absolutely, there are tribes that would look at you. If you actually told them that Bigfoot doesn't exist, they would look at you as if you were the odd one. Because for them, the idea to even question if Bigfoot exists is absurd. And meanwhile, the African continent echoed with stories of a beast said to resemble the long extinct dinosaurs. And expeditions plunged into the Congo Basin's heart, driven by whispers of monstrous roars, gigantic footprints, return with just stories. I am absolutely convinced, without a doubt. I don't know about the Kraken. I know what I saw at the gates of Hell Cemetery. I don't know what it was, but I absolutely am also convinced, and I've said this before, as far as Bigfoot, I have no doubt that it exists. There are too many credible people who are experiencing this, way too many. What this is, we don't know. And then people say, yeah, but we haven't found any bones. Do you realize how massive the woods are in the just North America alone? And not only that, but you could go out in the woods and walk miles and not see bones of any animal, but yet animals are dying all the time. Deer, especially. We know that they pass. So just because you don't have or you haven't found any bones, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. You could go right now and go on the Appalachian Mountains and walk the whole entire path, the whole thing. Take you months. And you may not even see one bone, not one bone of an animal, not one, but you know that they exist. So just because you haven't seen one, that doesn't mean that they're not there. And keep in mind, there's a theory that in some people who are experts, they believe that they bury their dead. Why not? We know that people say that's absurd. It is not. Elephants mourn the loss of one of their family members, if you will. They mourn. As a matter of fact, a whale. Remember the whale who had lost its calf and had basically was just poor thing, just swimming in the ocean with a calf in its mouth. It wouldn't let it go. So the idea that animals don't mourn is absurd. That's absurd. So anyway, that's right. Yeah, and C. Davis says deer and bear bones are hardly ever found in the woods, but we know that they're there. So cryptids tantalize because they exist at the intersection of reality and some people say myth. They remind us of the world's untamed corners, untouched by human encroachment, where the extraordinary might actually really exist. And whether as remnants of an age lost to history, species yet undiscovered, or figments of collective psychology, cryptids compel us to question what we know. Thank you, Deborah. And cause us to shiver at what we might not know. See, every rustle in the undergrowth or ripple across a moonlit lake surfaces and invokes the specter of the cryptid or the lurking behemoth that seeks to shred the fabric of reality. This is why I will not swim in the ocean. We have no clue we don't know every species is in the ocean. Is it possible that, for example, the megalodon, is it possible that they still exist? Now, people say absolutely not. How do you know? Here's what we do know. Now, people who are saying the megalodon is a shark, maybe not a cryptid. All I'm saying is the megalodon, I think it was the Discovery Channel. Very interesting, really interesting. There was an 18 foot, I think it was, great white. It was massive. And they had this tracker on this great white. And they were tracking it, and they were able to see it in real time where it was for no reason. And this was a massive great white. This was not a small little fish. For some reason, this great white had this dive, really strange, odd behavior. And it just kept diving and diving and diving. Now, many people think that it was obviously frightened of something because it was trying to escape something bigger than it. I think it was 18 foot. I can't remember. It was a large fish. And of course, as it continued to dive, the further you go, the colder it gets. And then all of a sudden, there was an incredibly spike in temperature, an increase. Something ate that massive shark because now it was in the belly of something bigger than it. They don't know what it was. That is frightening if you think about that. So as long as there are places devoid of light, hiding truths obscured by superstition and skepticism, the cryptid will endure. So for now, people have flashlights and stories, and we venture forth. And one can only hope to glimpse one of these shadowy beings, whether emerging from waters or stalking silently through the wilderness on camera, safely away. Now let's talk about Bigfoot, the forest giant. Fascinating background story. Fascinating. Right, yeah, and the creepy doomsday fish that appeared long ago that was thought to be extinct. So Bigfoot, known by various names across indigenous cultures such as Sasquatch in North America, Bigfoot's modern legend was ignited in 1958 when large footprints measuring over 15 inches were discovered in the forest of Northern California. That's fascinating. Northern California is, I have seen pictures, absolutely stunning, stunning. And these footprints, coupled with reports of a large, hairy, ape-like creature lurking in the woods, ignited nationwide fascination. Also, I watched it on, I think it was the National Geographic or Discovery, again, I can't remember. But they had a doctor on, a foot doctor, podiatrist, and that's what he does. I mean, he knows the foot, and he knows everything about, obviously, feet and footprints and things of this nature. And he actually looked at a cast that was made from an alleged Bigfoot imprint. And what he said was really fascinating. This is a medical doctor. This is somebody who's an expert. So he is far more advanced in this than any of us, unless you're a podiatrist. And he said, based on this cast, there would be no way that you could fake it because of the footprint. The print, just like a thumbprint, is all unique. And it would be impossible to fake something, especially to fake it as old as that cast was. It would be, yeah, I mean, many people talk about the Yeti and Bigfoot being the same or of the same family. It is interesting, the difference as far as the name. Now, let me tell you about, here's in 1975, listen to this. This is an eyewitness testimony. It says, one night I was camping with friends when I saw something massive move between the trees. It was covered in dark fur, over 8 feet tall, and it watched us with glowing eyes. We did not sleep that night. Jack Morrison, California, 1975. Now, I will say this, when I was at the Gates of Hell Cemetery in Elizabethtown, it was very fascinating. I remember seeing back at they call it the witch's tree in the very back. And I saw it and several other people saw it. It had green glowing eyes. It was fluorescent, green, fluorescent. The smell was terrible. It was horrible. But I remember it having green fluorescent eyes, and it was maybe about 15 feet away from us, and it was dark. We couldn't see that. There's a lot of trees behind the Gates of Hell Cemetery. And it was the eyes, I would say, it was a pretty good, I mean, they weren't like ours, how they're closer. They were pretty far, 8 inches. I mean, it was pretty far apart. But it was kind of strange because it would duck down and you could see it stoop down and then it would stand up, and it was at 10 feet tall. It would stand up and kind of look on the opposite side, then kind of look on this side of the tree and then stoop down again. We clearly saw it. And I did not know what kind of animal would have green fluorescent eyes, because as far as me and Bigfoot and my knowledge of Bigfoot, I will admit it's limited. What that was, I don't know. But it was something. And a lot of people who go to Gates of Hell Cemetery report seeing this creature. You can't see it, you smell it, and you see the green eyes. I don't think it was a demon. No, I didn't get that feeling it was a demon at all. Now, some believe Bigfoot is a surviving member of a prehistoric ape. Perhaps other thinks it's a hoax created by prankster or misidentification or bears or other animals. But again, what I saw, I wish I would have had I didn't have a flashlight with me. I wish I could have put the flashlight on this thing, because it was green fluorescent eyes. And despite decades of investigations, concrete proof remains elusive. Yet sightings continue. Now, we know about the Patterson film. That's been analyzed, reanalyzed. I think that was a legitimate video. So Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, it's a legendary creature said to inhabit forests primarily in the Pacific northwest of North America, though reports of similar beings appear in various cultures and even all over the United States. And descriptions of Bigfoot often depicted as a large ape-like creature, standing between 6 to 9 feet tall, with a robust build, covered in dark hair or fur, and possessing large feet. I would like, Mr. Producer, let me know have you ever experienced a Bigfoot? Let me know, Mr. Producer. I would be interested. So the legend of Bigfoot has its roots that back centuries with various indigenous tribes in North America, which is very interesting. Stories of hairy forest-dwelling beings, and these legends often describe spirits or creatures that have spiritual significance, sometimes even as protectors of the land. And they just say, leave them alone. And the modern concept of Bigfoot gained prominence in the mid-20th century, especially at the 1958 claim of a large footprint found in California. And since then, numerous sightings and footprints, photographs, even videos have been reported. So again, the characteristics are large, bipedal, covered with hair, often described as a bear-like or ape-like. And the behavior is usually depicted as shy, nocturnal, avoiding human contact. And some reports mention strange vocalizations. Now, matter of fact, we had a special guest on, wasn't that long ago, the expert in Bigfoot. And he shared some of the sound bites. I think that was pretty good. So Mr. Producer says, no, but on investigation, we heard tree knocking on a sound I never heard in my life by any known animal. So he also, Mr. Producer says, strange vocalizations. So the scientific community, to be fair, remains skeptical because they say there's no bones. Okay, but again, we've already explained this. The next we're going to talk about is the Loch Ness Monster. So the legend has it that since the 6th century, travelers, monks, fishermen have reported and recounted seeing a serpent-like creature in the depths of Loch Ness. So the modern obsession in 1933, when a sighting by a motorist captured the world's attention, and following by photographs like the infamous surgeon's photograph, you can look that up, in 1934, purportedly, showing a long neck emerging from the water. And this is a person, Sarah McDonald, in 1987 said, we were kayaking on Loch Ness when I saw what looked like a long serpentine neck rising from the water. It moved swiftly and disappeared. Thank you very much, Chad. Beneath the surface before we could get a good view. Now, numerous sonar surveys, underwater cameras, and searches have been conducted. So far, results remain inconclusive. But we see this when we go all the way back to the Loch Ness Monster. The Scottish have held a long reverence for their natural landscape and embedding stories of mysterious creatures. And these stories were often regarded with awe and fear, blending with folklore and things. Well, thank you. But I encourage you, by the way, in 1933, the whole Nessie, a couple traveling along the A82 road along Loch Ness reported seeing a strange hump shaped from cresting the water. Thank you for sharing. And news spread quickly, sparkling a wave of sightings and photographs and speculation. But you can look up surgeon's photograph in 1934. It was taken by Robert Kenneth Wilson, a London surgeon. And the photograph appears to depict a long neck and head emerging from the water. To me, it kind of did look like something there. Peter McDonald in 1983 says, we saw a massive elongated form moving gracefully through the water with what looked like a hump or a series of humps. And it moved with purpose and then vanished. Fiona Stewart in 1997 said, while boating on the lake with my family, we caught a glimpse of something large rising from the depths, shaping the water into a towering arc. It was silent yet commanding. And David McKenzie writes, I was an experienced diver. And during a night dive, he says, I saw a huge, dark-shaped gliding beneath me, long neck-like, unmistakably alive. These people are not selling anything. They don't have movies. They don't have books. So what could it be? Well, scientists have proposed various explanations. Some say this creature could be a large otter or eel or boat waves, mistaken. I mean, boat waves, maybe. If you can see, the waves, you're thinking that's something, but I'm an eel, really? Nope. Online fame. These people are not online. They're not selling a book. They're not doing, they have nothing to sell. Just like when I interviewed the ranger from Alaska, a game warden. Now, this guy he's not selling a book. He's not on television. Thank you, MC. He's not nothing. Thank you for giving that subscription. But he told us on this show that he saw an 8-foot bipedal creature. For those of you who are in Kentucky, that means standing on 2 feet. I'm in Kentucky. I'm allowed to say that. And he said it was bipedal. And then I asked him, could it be a moose or a bear? And I've said this many times before. And he said, Bishop Long, I am a native Alaskan. I have lived here all my life. The woods is my home. If I don't know the difference between a bear and an elk and a bipedal creature, then I shouldn't. Well, thank you very much, RCT. Thank you. He said that I should not be a game warden. He's right. Now, some people say that the Loch Ness is cartoons or floating objects. Other people say shimmering waves or weather phenomenon. Some hypothesize, say Nessie could be a surviving dinosaur. Well, despite persistent sightings, the scientific consensus remains skeptical. Again, there's been many. There was a comprehensive expedition in 2018. It failed to find conclusive evidence. So we don't know. And while scientific investigations have yet to definitively say Nessie's existence, sightings continue to be reported. Matter of fact, in 2019, there was a video on social media show what appeared to be a long, dark shape moving swiftly beneath the water surface. I saw that video. To me, I think there's something there. And let me know if you guys are okay on TikTok. Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, we're having some storms here too. So let's talk about Mothman. And, okay, excellent. Thank you. Mothman. So Point Pleasant, West Virginia, became infamous for sightings of a strange winged humanoid in 1966. Descriptions vary, but Mothman is most often depicted as a large figure with enormous wings and glowing red eyes. And less than a year after the first sightings, the Silver Bridge connecting West Virginia and Ohio fell, unaliving 46 people. And many locals believe the creature's appearance was a warning of a pending disaster. It was 1966. And so Tom Bailey, 1966, says, I was driving near the river when suddenly a huge winged figure hovered above the trees. Its eyes glowed like hot coals, and I could feel a cold dread in my chest as I watched it. Also, now Mothman is often viewed as a harbinger, an omen of doom. Its appearances seem to signal tragedy. Let me tell you about, for those of you who don't know, I don't know what I saw at the Gates of Hell Cemetery, but I believe after looking at and listening and to people talk about Mothman, I think it was Mothman. And here's why. And there were 3 other people with me, by the way, who saw this. So at the Gates of Hell Cemetery, which I named it the Gates of Hell over 23 years ago, is a cemetery located in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. No one even knew that place even existed. It's an old abandoned cemetery. And when online radio was in its infancy, I was doing an online paranormal show, The Sacred Division, on a paranormal network. And a family asked us to go there because people were doing things they shouldn't do, desecrating. And so we went there to bless it. We were there around midnight. And I'll give a very Cliff Notes version because it's on the documentary. And we were at the very back. It's a small cemetery. It has a fence around it, a U-shaped fence. And the very back is this big dead tree there. And we were there around midnight. It was in the middle. I think it was August or so. It was in summer. It was hot. The crickets were making the noise, and then everything stopped. The wind started, the tree started shaking, going back and forth and back and forth. We didn't feel any wind where we were. And we saw what shadow people looked like. It first started out with 5 or 10 shadow people darting in and out behind trees outside of the fence line. Originally, we thought it was the locals trying to scare us, but then it was 15, then 25, then 40. And it looked like they were closing us in. And so we were like, no, we're done. Because we weren't there to perform the minor rite of exorcism. We were there just to investigate. So we walked out the same path. And as we finally exited, and you can watch this on the documentary on YouTube. I made a documentary on this. You can go to my YouTube channel, look on Gates of Hell. It's there. So we were there at the we finally got out of that place. And there is a big tree at the entrance. And our backs are towards the cemetery. But one of the investigators had a flashlight, and he was holding, I don't know what they were. At first, I didn't know where they were shining it, but they were shaking. And this is back in the old days where it took big batteries, and you could hear the rattle of the batteries. And we looked, and we saw his hand shake. And we turned around to see what he was looking at. Every one of us saw this thing. It was a massive winged creature. It had red fluorescent eyes. To me, it looked like a massive 10-foot bat. That's what it looked like to me. And every single one of them said this. Bishop David Price was with me as well. We all saw the same thing. The wings were spread out. He had a long torso. Is well defined. You could see. And it looked like a giant bat. It was so clear we could see the claws. Because he was his flashlight was right on this thing. So we clearly saw it. It made no noise. It didn't move. Nothing. The wings were spread out, and we knew that if we had stepped a foot closer, that we were going to be attacked. We all knew that, and so that was one thing. That was one time that I can't define it, but after all these years, I really do believe that was Mothman. Now, do I believe it was demonic? No, no. We could see. You could see the fur. I mean, the flashlight was right on him. So I mean, the light was. You could see the whole thing. You could see I don't know, the bats have fur or whatever, but you could see the torso. I mean, it was a well-defined torso. That's how clear we saw it. I could see its claws in the tree. It wasn't fear. It was like, okay, oddly enough, we all felt the same thing. If we stepped 1 inch closer, it would attack. That's what we felt, every single one of us. It was like a watchdog. Like, okay, this is, I'm drawing this line in the sand. Don't cross that. It didn't feel demonic because I know what a demonic feels. I know what that feels like. That wasn't like this at all. But that's what it was. To this day, I mean, and then when I went home, it was around midnight, and I had my little dog Kylie. She's in heaven now. She's a small little, toy schnauzer, and she needed to go outside. So I took her outside, and then right across the street from my house, there's some woods or some bushes, and then a huge field. And as Kylie was doing her business, I heard a growl. Now, I've heard growls before during exorcism. This growl was different. This growl was so deep, and I've talked about this, and my story has never changed. It felt like someone had a bass speaker right on my back and turned the bass up as loud as I could feel the growl in the chamber of my chest. And I grabbed Kylie, stopped. I grabbed Kylie, said, "You're done." And so people say, well, could it have been a wolf? No. A bear? No. Deeper, bigger. Whatever this thing was, this was not a cat, not a dog. This was a very deep growl. And remember, this was about where it must have been maybe 15 feet away from me. So I don't know what it was. Yeah, I mean, really, yeah. After all these years, I am still animated by it because I can't. I've never seen something like that in my life ever, never. And that is just a place that I guess it was Mothman. I don't know. That's it's some type of cryptid, but what that was, I don't know. And so that is a place that I won't go. I won't go there at night. You go there at night, you're asking for trouble, and you're going to find trouble. It is an absolute different world. I think some people can marbles. Yeah. Do I think it followed me? I think something certainly did. Now, of course, it didn't enter my home, thankfully. But the thing here's what's interesting about the growl. The growl that I heard, I didn't feel that type of fear or panic when I saw it. So when I saw it, I didn't feel fear. It was just like you leave it alone. You don't push it. Don't go any further. Oh gosh, this was, I don't know, maybe time goes by so fast. 2015, maybe 10 years ago or so. Yeah, something like that. But it's a crazy place. It's a crazy place. Next, let's talk about the Kraken. I think it was some type of cryptid. I can see it in my mind. As clear as 10 years, I can still see everything. It was so detailed. Because like I said, it was a full moon outside. The flashlight shone the whole entire tree. It was one of those blast flashlights, not one of those little tiny. We saw the whole thing. So, I mean, we saw the claws. I mean, it was that clear. And these are big claws. I mean, these were huge claws on the feet. Oh, I can't. I'm not an artist, but I could describe it to you. If you're an artist, I can describe everything, what it looked like, the wings, the torso, the face, everything. Like I can see it as clear now as I did 10 years ago. Okay, let's talk about the Kraken. The Kraken. Release the Kraken. All right, this is an ancient sea monster, and we see this first described in Norse sagas, Norse mythology. The Kraken was feared as a colossal creature capable of dragging entire ships beneath the waves. Believe it or not, sailors actually, talked about, speaks of vast tentacle monsters lurking in the depths, sometimes surfacing to attack vessels. So in the 19th century, by the way, sailors reported seeing a monstrous creature with hundreds of feet of tentacles rise from the ocean abyss. The legend persisted in modern times, with submarine crews actually reporting strange encounters. In 2007, this is very interesting, a crew off the coast of Newfoundland captured footage of a massive tentacle extending from the deep. It was an image that rekindled beliefs of the Kraken's reality. So let's go into a little bit deeper. I want to talk about, and there's the sightings, especially the Mothman. Their sightings are, townspeople in West Virginia say there was a couple in a car with a Mothman, described how the enormous creature swooped over their vehicle, and its wings casting a shadow over the road. And a group of teenagers claimed to have seen the creature perched atop a tree. It had red eyes fixed on them as they drove by. But there was a sheriff's deputy that reported a flying figure streaking through the night sky. And the creature's red eyes seemed to glow with unnatural intensity. I absolutely, 100%. And by the way, for those of you who are, we'll get to this. the legend of the Mothman on December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge. That was a suspension bridge connecting Point Pleasant to Ohio, completely collapsed during rush hour. And many residents and investigators believe that the Mothman sightings were warnings. So we don't know. But we certainly see it. A lot of people see this creature. Tom Bailey in 1966 says it was hovering over the treetops, wings outstretched, and its glowing eyes stared directly into mine. He says, I felt like I was looking into the abyss. And then Lisa Grant in 2010 says it was silent, took off with a rush of wind, and disappeared into the night. And with the Mothman, sightings largely ceased by 1960s, but they have continued. I mean, it hasn't stopped. There's the story of Mothman inspired books, movies, festivals, the 2002 film, The Mothman Prophecies. Now, of course, there's skeptics and saying nonsense, but I disagree. I disagree. I know what I saw. I don't know what it was, but I know I saw it. Let's talk now about the Appalachian howler. Here's a few more cryptids that people have experienced. Let me say, the Appalachian Mountains are no joke. That is scary stuff. Paranormal Caught on Tape had one. Really? What of the Mothman? Okay, Appalachian howler, everybody. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Well, listen to this. Known by many as a cryptid, the legendary beast is said to prowl the dense forest and rugged mountains of the Appalachian region in the United States. So we're going to go into talk a little bit about that. The Appalachian howler is also known as simply as the howler. It's a creature that has captured the imagination of those living in the Appalachian Mountains for generations. I had the opportunity to speak to someone who lives in the Appalachian Mountains, and I was like, well, I mean, could it be a dog? And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, a dog. You don't know if we can tell if it's a dog or not? It's kind of like, I get the point. Reports of the howler date back to the early settlers and indigenous people in the region. They shared stories of a large, fearsome animal with striking features, described variously as bear-sized creature with shaggy fur, glowing eyes, horns or antler-like protrusions. The howler is actually said to emit an eerie, blood-curdling howls that echo through the valleys and the hollows over there. And these hair-raising vocalizations often reported at night. And yeah, for those of you who are here, I appreciate all of you guys being here. So I'm Bishop Long. Again, I want to remind you, please do me a favor, and we'll get right back into the presentation. Please visit our sponsors site, kgradb.com. The reason I do that is because we have a lot more people showing up now because it's 8 o'clock. So usually on the top of the hour, on both hours, I always like to make these announcements. So go to KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com and click on the shop link and you'll see my name. Guys, we have some really great items there. Please purchase them because 100% of the profits that I would make from KGRADB selling these items, we're going to donate to the MKS Kids Foundation. It's an orphanage in Africa. It helps children that are orphans. It helps put a roof over the head, give them the food and the medical attention and education. So we are really making a difference. I spoke to the gentleman the other day, and I'm telling you, we are making a massive, massive difference. So if you can, we haven't really sold too much yet because we just started. But please go to the website, click on shop, and click my name, and purchase as much as you can. Christmas will be here before you know it. It will. We're already in July, guys. I'm telling you, it's already. So thank you very much. You bought some. Thank you, Jax. And just when you know that when you're buying this, you're also doing a great cause. Why not? Now, certainly, yes. If I could easily say no, KGREDB radio. I want the money. We're selling, Sacred Division stuff. Give me the money. We are, you know what? I am the one that went to KGREDB radio, and Mr. Producer will tell you. I'm the one who says, no, we need to donate this money to this organization because I really believe in them. I believe in this organization. And they made a video, just brought tears to my eyes. They made a video. The kids, thanked us. And it was very sweet. Very, very sweet. So Mr. Producer wants to say something. Yeah, Mr. Producer.
I can definitely confirm that. We looked at it actually of people that you could pop up organizations, and this is the one that you can on.
Yep.
So yes, 50% of your go to the foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Producer. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And thank you for what you're doing for them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And how much have we haven't sold much yet, have we?
I think it's maybe 10 items.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to talk to you also. I'm going to talk to you about later on because I have some ideas.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Yeah. So 10 items. 10 items. Thank you there, RCD. Thank you. So anyway, it's important to have an update. So we've sold 10 items, which, hey, 10 is better than none. But let's definitely, if we can, again, Christmas will be here before you know it. And so please just, place some orders. It's called MKS Kids Foundation. They're on TikTok. The gentleman who runs it, you know what, you can tell people, but by just, talking to this guy, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And he has a deep passion for helping these kids. And so I appreciate all of you guys helping as well. We're doing wonderful things. Every dollar that we raise is a blessing to them, truly. So thank you guys for doing that. Okay, let's continue. All right. Yeah, and some people talk about coyotes and say that this thing was the Appalachian howler is a coyote. Here's the problem that I have with that theory. I have friends that live in the Appalachian Mountains, and I've even told them, well, some people are saying a coyote. And again, they say, don't you think that we know what a coyote sounds like? If they've been there all their life, they know what. So they're clearly hearing something that's not a coyote. They would know what a coyote sounds because they live there. They're there 24/7. So anyway, now in the field of cryptozoology, the Appalachian howler holds a place as one of the numerous unexplained entities that reside in a blurry intersection of myth and reality. And while mainstream science has yet to confirm its existence, eyewitness accounts, grainy photographs, recorded howls continue to fuel speculation. A coy wolf? Oh. Now, some theories suggest that the howler could be misidentified known animals, such as a large black bear or cougar, possibly with some genetic anomalies causing unusual features. Okay. But the Appalachian howler is more than just a cryptid. It is a cultural icon that is deeply embedded in the Appalachian folklore. By the way, stories of the howler are often shared around campfires and family gatherings. But a lot of people certainly serves as a fascinating example of how mythology, cultural, and even natural history can intertwine. Maria Thompson, let me tell you this. So I talked to Maria Thompson. She lived in a small town that was nestled in the Appalachian Mountains. And as a lifelong nature enthusiast, she often hiked the trails near her home. And so one autumn afternoon, she decided to take her usual route, but she veered off and to explore a less traveled path. She said she walked there all the time, and she just thought, why not? And I spoke to her. So as the sun then, of course, dipped below the horizon, she said it was kind of an eerie glow. It was unusual. That's the word she described it. And Marie heard a low, like a mournful howl echoing through the trees. She paused and she was convinced it must be a coyote. Though something about it, the sound, it felt different, she said. deeper. She described it as primal, but she just shrugged it off and she just continued on. But the howls persisted, and it grew closer and even more frequent. And she then spotted movement in her peripheral vision. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. And the Rougarou, yeah. What she saw in her peripheral vision was a large, shadowy figure that slinked between the trees, she said. She said it was too big for a coyote. It was too dark to be a deer. She said it was absolutely not a bear. And her heart began to race. She tried to grab her flashlight. She finally managed to put her flashlight on the creature, and it froze. It had glowing eyes. She described it as an elongated snout covered in dark fur. And and I thought, well, could it have been, rabies? She said, no, because it was completely distorted. It was not a normal creature she'd ever seen before. She grew up in the Appalachian Mountains. Thank you. So she was struck with fear, recognizing the creature from local legends. She believed that was the howler. So before she could make sense of the sighting, the creature bolted into the forest. And even today, when I talked to her about not too long ago, she was shaky. Her voice was shaky. And that was absolutely. There's another one, the Lake Champlain monster. The Lake Champlain monster, known as Champ. The intriguing tale of the Lake Champlain monster, commonly known as Champ, thank you. Legendary creature is said to inhabit the waters of Lake Champlain. It's a 125-mile long body of fresh water that's nestled between the northern portions of the United States of New York and Vermont, extending all the way to Quebec, Canada. I think maybe Mr. Producer can go out there in Lake Champlain and go check out to see Champ. Maybe we'll get Mr. Producer to go put some diving gear on, and it's out in that area, and take one for the team, Mr. Producer. So the legend of Champ dates back centuries. Among the earliest records are the local Native American tribes, specifically the Abenaki and the Iroquois, who spoke of a large creature in the lake. And so European settlers began reporting sightings of a mysterious creature in this lake as early as the 1600s. Oh, you saw him? And in 1609, the French explorer Samuel de Champlain reportedly saw a large creature resembling a serpent, or large fish, though his description may have been misidentified. But the modern legend gained momentum in the 19th century because on July 1819, a report by a local newspaper documented a sighting by Captain Crum, who claimed to have seen an enormous serpent in the lake with bright silvery scales that glistened, as they said, in the sun. And throughout the 20th and 21st century, numerous eyewitnesses accounts have surfaced. And if you've seen any of this, let me know. Often describing a creature with a long neck and a body resembling that of a dinosaur. Very similar to the Loch Ness Monster. Now, of course, there's been a lot of inquiry and skepticism. In 1977, a photograph taken by Sandra Mancy, purportedly showing Champ, has been one of the most scrutinized pieces of evidence. Though subsequent analysis have been inconclusive as to whether it depicts a living creature or just an object. Now, skeptics often attribute Champ sightings to misidentification, common lake animals, floating logs, waves, or other natural phenomena. But the legend of Champ has become a significant part of the local culture. Champ's likeness appears in various logos and mascots. The legend is enthusiastically embraced by tourism, festivals, boat tours, souvenirs, all capitalized on the mystery of this creature. Matter of fact, the state of Vermont has even given Champ protection as an endangered species. Oh, that's interesting. And the Lake Champlain monster, or Champ, is a captivating mix of folklore, eyewitness testimonies, scientific curiosity. Now, there have been reports, personal encounters. For generations, the residents of Burlington, Vermont, been there, beautiful, beautiful. Vermont is beautiful. Celebrated the annual Champ Festival in honor of Champ, the legendary Lake Champlain monster. And to most, it was a summer of fun. However, for Alex, a local fisherman, it was a reminder of the encounter he had as a teenager. So this is what Alex had told several people in newspapers and other articles. And he said it was a foggy morning in June when, at that time, young Alex joined his father on the boat for an early fishing trip. The lake was calm, the surface smooth as glass. And as they cast their lines, Alex noticed ripples forming in the distance, accompanied by a series of low rhythmic waves. So curiosity piqued, and they watched as a long shape rose from the depths across the water. Its sleek, dark body glistened in the dawn light. It moved gracefully, leaving a trail of foam in its wake before disappearing. And then wide-eyed Alex with his father sat in stunned silence. Though no one believed the tale without evidence, they never doubted what they saw, and the encounter with Champ became a bond between them. And they were absolutely convinced. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil is very, very interesting. And I have some really scary stories that I've spoke to people about this. So the legend of the Jersey Devil is one of the most famous enduring myths and cryptids in American folklore. It's centered in Pine Barrens of New Jersey. According to the legend, the story of the Jersey Devil dates back to the 18th century, where it said that a woman known as Mother Leeds cursed her 13th child, transforming it into a creature with hooves, wings, a goat-like head. Well, this creature, known as the Jersey Devil, is said to haunt the Pine Barrens, terrorizing the locals and causing fear and fascination for centuries. And the Pine Barrens themselves are they're a mysterious wilderness area in New Jersey, characterized by dense forests, swamps, sandy soil. Well, thank you very much, Starla. Thank you. Very kind of you. I'm curious, Mr. Producer, let us know in the chat or whatever. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been to this Pine Barrens? So the legends of the Jersey Devil has evolved over the years, with various accounts describing the creature as a harbinger of doom, protector of the wilderness, mischievous trickster. And despite the speculation and skepticism surrounding the existence of the Jersey Devil, the myth continues to captivate the imagination. So a legend of the Jersey Devil in the Pine Barrens serves as a reminder. The power of storytelling, and whether or not this thing exists or not, is up for debate. Oh, he says, not yet, he says. Heard a lot about the Jersey Devil, yeah. But listen to this. So throughout the years, you are in the, Kathy is in the Pine Barrens. So Kathy, you have to tell us, you believe in this Jersey Devil. Now, because I've been doing this for 23 years, I've pretty much interviewed thousands of people. Maybe quite a few, maybe not thousands, but quite a few people. I remember interviewing Jake Peterson. Now, he was a park ranger assigned to the sprawling and dense Wharton State Forest in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. 15 minutes from Galloway. Wow. Now, Jake, he was a man of science. He dismissed these, goat people and all this other stuff as just nonsense. Well, one late winter, as at night, Jake was patrolling the park and ensuring no campers had ventured into restricted areas. The forest was eerily quiet, and the only sounds was his footsteps crunching on the frozen ground. So as Jake scanned the area with his flashlight, the beam caught a pair of reflective eyes pierced high in the branches of an ancient oak. He said the creature's silhouette was unlike anything he's ever seen. He says what looked like large wings tucked against its body and a long serpentine tail curling down the branch. And he said before he could react, the creature emitted a blood-curdling screech and took flight. Its wings cutting through the air with a tremendous force. And I asked him, well, could it have been an owl? I have to be, no, because some of the owls can be pretty large. But he said, look, I stumbled back. He struggled to regain his composure as the creature vanished into the night sky. And he says, I know what an owl looks like. He said, this was, you're thinking too small. So skeptical at first, the sighting left Jake reevaluating his beliefs. And he kept his story mostly to himself, sharing it only to those, who, like him, prowled the dense pines. But he was absolutely convinced, 100%, that what he saw was something. He doesn't know what it was, but he absolutely was convinced that he saw this creature. Now, who was it that said that they're in the pines? Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to tell me, because, so have you ever seen this creature? So Kathy on TikTok is saying that she lives actually in the pines. Have you seen this creature? Yeah, I mean, it's oh, you have not? Okay. All right. Well, very good. Well, okay. All right. So we're going to close this one out. There's a lot here. And even the infield monster. We've talked about that not too long ago. The infield monster is 100% people. You've always heard about it. Yeah. The infield monster, it's shrouded in myth and mystery, but it's capped the imagination of locals and researchers and enthusiasts alike. So the infield monster, if you have not checked that out, guys, I would strongly encourage you. Infield, Enfield. It's a cryptid. It's a creature whose existence is suggested by alleged people, experts even, in the 1970s, Enfield, Illinois. And people describe the Enfield monster typically as a large, hairy, ape-like creature, standing about 7 feet tall. It emits a really high piercing, high-piercing sound. As a matter of fact, it was first cited by Henry McDaniel. I got to do a little puzzle here. 1 second. There we go. Okay. By Henry McDaniel and his family in April of 1973, who reported that it attempted to attack their home. And according to the accounts, the creature had 3 legs, a short body, 2 pink eyes, the size of flashlights, and a coating of gray hair, among other features. And some people, this caused such a fright. Sightings, reports from other residents in the area added to the mystery of the Enfield monster. The Enfield monster sightings generated widespread interest, and it even got the local law enforcement and, of course, media and curious onlookers to investigate the phenomena. That's how bad it was. So many people were reporting this creature that the law actually had to get involved. And when you think about that, guys, that's something not to. Okay, great. Well, welcome. I appreciate you. Okay, so despite extensive attention and investigation at the time, the Enfield monster remains an unsolved mystery. But the legend of the Enfield monster persists even today. And this enigmatic, it's nature, the enduring interest, it continues to live even now. People were terrified of this creature. The town, it's a neat atmosphere. It's a natural landscapes. It's a beautiful little town. But the earliest documented sightings, again, occurred in April 1973. And McDaniel detailed descriptions of the appearance, called the police. And the people at that time were so terrified of this creature, you've already looked at, so terrified that people were told, don't go out at night, stay in your home. I mean, they were really legitimately terrified of this thing. So when you get the law enforcement involved in this, and they're taking this seriously, that makes you kind of worried. And so Yeah, 1973. A family were actually, they had strange noises outside their residence. It was dead of night. And McDaniel claimed to have witnessed this creature. And the family report the infill monster's aggressive behavior. So, yeah. And of course, the Rougarou. We talked about what someone had mentioned the Rougarou. There are so many cryptids. We could do oh my gosh, it's already 8:20. Gosh, there are so many cryptid stories. We could do a 4-hour show just on cryptids alone, because there's so much out there that people are seeing. This is why I'm thinking that there's something going on, and there's more. We're not finished yet. I have more stories. The problem is there are far too many people who are seeing this, and there's also. Okay, I've got to laugh at this one. There are some people that believe that there's a thing called the frogmen. I know. I'm just telling you, now it's the frogman, the ape man, this man, that man. I know there's some it's like, what? It's like, no, that's that goes a little bit too much. But the Lake Champlain a serpent, no question. Matter of fact, there's a woman named Sarah. She was a local artist. She was painting a landscape on her grandfather's boat as it drifted, in the calm waters of Lake Champlain. And just as she began to capture the setting sun on her canvas, she noticed ripples in the water that didn't match the usual lapping of the waves. And so she initially dismissed it, and then she returned to her painting. She saw a large shape that was surfaced about 100 yards away. It had 30 feet visible above. She said she could clearly see this creature. It had dark, like skin to it, similar to both a whale and a snake, she said. And she's absolutely convinced that what she saw was true. The Yeti. There was a Sherpa who actually, he I don't know if it was an article that I think I read this in an article, in Nepal. His name is Raj. A Sherpa is a guide. You hire, for example, Sherpas if you want to go on mountains, Everest, and they go with you. But Raj is the name of the Sherpa. He had heard the tales all his life. He remained skeptical of these Yetis. He didn't believe in this Yeti. However, during a climb with a small group, they found enormous footprints in the snow at elevations where few animals tread. And then on closer inspection, they noticed a figure high on the ridge through binoculars. They described it as a tall, hairy creature moving with surprising agility across this rocky incline. And it quickly just disappeared behind a rocky outcrop. There are many people, there are many Sherpas that have absolutely said that they've heard this. Even Bigfoot. There was, I interviewed a logger. It was in the Pacific Northwest. His name was Mike. And when I had him on the show many years ago, he said he was working deep in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, and Mike, he stumbled upon a set of massive footprints that was embedded into there. He clearly saw it. He didn't have anything to, unfortunately, like a cast or to mold it. The prints were well preserved, though, by recent rain, indicating that a creature far larger than a bear. And I asked him, well, could it have been a bear? He said, look, I've seen bear prints all my life. This was not a bear print. This was a large man footprint. And Mike followed the tracks for several miles, noting broken branches and even scattered foliage, as if something heavy had, charged through them. He never saw the creature, and the tracks just disappeared near a mossy stream. But he absolutely 100% he is convinced that he saw this creature, or he saw the footprints. And I asked, could it have been someone, making a joke? And he said no, because there was no one else around, because he was there the whole time. And they also had, I said, well, what about at night? Someone could have easily, tricking you at night. He said no, because we had security cameras there. Because they had equipment. And he said the security cameras are automatically connected to his phone. And if they had any type of movement or something like that, he would be able to see it. And he said there was nothing. Nothing. So, what, Bill? Bill says I was compiling a list of them. What were you compiling a list of? What? Bill's one of our moderators on TikTok. Oh, the Rougarou. Yeah. Oh, cryptids. Very cool. Now, I've interviewed someone who lived in Narlands. Cryptids all over the world. Okay. So I interviewed someone who lives in Narlands about the Rougarou, and he's a fisherman. That's what he does. He's a fisherman. Now, he is absolutely 1 million convinced, 1,000,000% convinced that the Rougarou exists. I'll get that question in just a second. Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of the Rougarou? Absolutely. The Rougarou is a very interesting creature. Okay. Let's talk about it for a second. So if you don't know, but the Rougarou is a name, of course, which the North American folklore, many people call it folklore, but you call it folklore, and some people, and they look at you like you're crazy. It's Cajun folklore. And it's in the swamps of Louisiana. And so it's like the same. It's like, well, the same type of werewolf is called that. It's a mythology of a certain French communities. Is known as the another name very similar to the Rougarou, and it's like a wolf, but it's a word that it's like idea of a man transforming into an animal. So the Rougarou thus designated the same creature. However, in North America folklore, the myth acquired some interesting peculiarities, and so it's better to speak of Rougarou to avoid confusion. Although in practice they continue to be used both named interchangeably when talking about the one that looks like a werewolf versus the Rougarou. It has a body of a man and the head of a wolf, and they say that it roams the woods and fields looking for its prey at dark at night, a werewolf. And that its eyes are red and bloodshed. It can run on its feet, although it tends to prowl, stalking on all fours, stopping and sniffing left and right, and in a predatory attitude. And above all, they say that he is thirsty for blood. Now, there's a lot of, especially in Native American folklore, there's many people. Oh, you saw? Really? All right, B is saying that they saw one in Lake Charles, Louisiana. He was standing up. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, I seriously, I want to do a presentation on vampires. That's what I want to do. I would like to go to New Orleans and really 100% meet somebody who is legitimate, who thinks they're a legitimate vampire. Interdimensional beings. That's a good question. A lot of people, matter of fact, we talked to the expert on the Bigfoot expert not that long ago, and he absolutely believes that they are interdimensional beings. Whether they are or not, we don't know. But let's talk a little bit about the Rougarou. Yeah, they're scary. This is not, guys. I'm telling you what. If the gentleman that I know had lived in Louisiana all his life, he was a fisherman, and he will not go there at night in the swamps. He won't. And so people they take that very seriously. Certain people. I mean, again, this guy, he lived there all his life. Oh, really? So I was saying during Mardi Gras, a voodoo priestess warns of the creature. Yeah, the Rougarou, it's a mythical creature, some people say mythical, from Cajun folklore. It's in Louisiana. It's like a werewolf-like creature. It prowls the swamps and the bayous of Louisiana. The legend says that the Rougarou is a person who has been cursed or made a deal with the devil. And as a result, they transform into a terrifying beast under the light of a full moon. So the Rougarou is said to be a shapeshifter, able to take on different forms to avoid capture. It's also believed to have like glowing red eyes and a howling cry that strikes fear into those who hear it. Now, some stories warn that if you encounter the Rougarou, you must either unalive it or pass the curse on to someone else to avoid becoming a Rougarou yourself. That's kind of, but I had a presentation one time. I spoke to a hunter in Louisiana, and I asked him about the Rougarou, and he said let me tell you what he said briefly. So this hunter, we'll just call him Joe because he didn't want to be named. He said he ventured deep into the Louisiana swamps, as he normally always does, in search for game because he lives there. I mean, that's what he does. And as night fell, he heard a rustling in the bushes, and he caught a glimpse of glowing red eyes. And ignoring the warnings of locals, he brushed it off as superstition. And the next day, he was found wandering the swamps. He didn't know anything. He didn't remember what happened. He didn't remember nothing. All he remembered is seeing this creature and then just wandering the swamps the next day. And thankfully, they found him. He has no memory. He had no memory of what happened after he saw this creature. Then the next day, he doesn't know where he was. They don't know. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. And now the DuPont family, known for their deep Cajun roots, were plagued by a series of misfortunes after an alleged chance encounter with the Rougarou. See, one moonlit night, livestock were found mutilated, crops withered. The family members fell ill with strange ailments. And desperate for a solution, the DuPonts sought help of a local witch doctor to lift the curse before they lost everything. That's an alleged story. There was also a fishing captain, trawler captain, known for his skepticism of the local lore. He didn't believe it. And so he steered his boat into uncharted waters off the coast of Louisiana. The crew laughed off warnings of the Rougarou, the haunting of the bayou, until strange occurrences began to plague their vessel. They said that they would hear mysterious howls echo across the waters. Fishermen reported sightings of monstrous beasts lurking in the fog. The boat kept having problems as it got closer and closer to these howls. There was also a woman named Ellie. I spoke to her many years ago about the Rougarou, and she said she was driving home late one night. And normally she never does this because she doesn't like driving in the back roads of Louisiana. She's lived there all her life. It still freaks her out. But she was driving home late one night after work. There was a winding roads there, and she said she encountered a figure, a large figure standing by the roadside. Its eyes were red, and ignoring her instincts to flee, she slowed down because she wanted to see this, whatever it was, because she said it was kind of a little about 10 feet away from the road. And she could only see the backside. But she described it, it looked like human, but she didn't see clothes. And so as she got closer, was it the Rougarou? Was it the Bigfoot? I don't know. But as she got closer, she said that this thing snarled, made this really loud, because she rolled the window down and see if it was a person needing help. And it made this deep growl and took off in the woods. And she said she never, ever would drive again, ever, back into the dark areas of Louisiana. You live on 40 acres in Louisiana. Oh, you get in by dark. See, that's what I'm saying. These people, they live in Louisiana, and many people who live certainly in the bayou They will. No, some people will just kind of roll your eyes and kind of like, okay, yeah, right. But there are some people that are absolutely convinced that something is going on there. Who knows? That's the problem. That's the issue, isn't it? Is because there's too many people who are experiencing it. And because there's so many people experiencing these creatures, I think that we have to kind of look at this and say there could be some real. And there, I've got so many stories, especially Bigfoot encounters. Yep. Okay, we'll get to some of your questions. Okay, I'm just sending a message here. There we go. All right, there. Oh yeah, I've got there's some. That's what I'm saying about the Bigfoot. I think of all cryptids. I think Bigfoot is the one that I think, in my opinion, and that creature that I saw, that winged creature, because I saw it. I think of all cryptids, I think those are the ones that probably for me are the most realistic, because there's too many people seeing it. Too many people. Oh, I've got my word, I could write a book on throughout the years talking to people and their experience and what they experienced with Bigfoot. I've got so many stories I could tell you easily. Right, Julian. I did a presentation once on the Appalachian, on the mountains. I might have to do that again, especially the Appalachian superstitions and stories of monsters in the Appalachian woods. So maybe, I don't know. Are they aliens? It's interesting. I don't know. There is a debate on Bigfoot. Is it an interdimensional being? Is it an alien? We simply don't know. But is it stories? Oh my goodness, yeah, I could easily do that. There's a lot of people. Are sirens of the sea possibly real? Like in the Iliad on the Odyssey. See, that's the thing. I think there's quite a few people who are seeing these things, and because they're seeing that, I'm willing to listen. Just because I've never seen it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Yeah, I mean, because they don't have anything they're not selling anything. Like a lot of people would talk about. So in Greek mythology, sirens are creatures, and they have like an upper body of a woman and a lower body of a bird, or even a fish, a mermaid, if you will. I've never seen, obviously, a mermaid, so I'm a bit more. I'm a lot more skeptical on mermaids existing than I am on a Bigfoot or even Mothman. Primarily because I've seen Mothman, but I'm not seeing Bigfoot, the actual fig, but I've seen those eyes. I've seen the green the green fluorescent eyes. The smell was pretty bad, and it was tall. I mean, this creature was tall. Oh yeah, I can talk big. Oh, I have all. Yeah, let me pull a file. So yeah, someone's asking about if. Yep, I absolutely can do this. Let me show you right now. Someone's asking about Bigfoot. I've talked to people. There was I spoke to a hiker, and his name was Jake, and he hiked all the time. That's all he does. I mean, he loves hiking. So, but he was hiking alone in the dense forest of the Pacific Northwest. And Jake noted, and he's a very advanced hiker, and he noticed the usual sound, the forest sounds around him. They just stopped. And he said that the air became, he described it as unnervingly still, completely still. And as he continued on the trail, he said he spotted a large, dark figure moving parallel to him, about 50 yards. The creature matched his pace easily, observing him silently. And obviously too frightened to confront it, he quickened his pace until he reached like a clearing, at which point the presence didn't follow him. Now, this guy, again, I mean, he was not a kid. It's not Jake from State Farm. I spoke to Laura. Now, Laura, she said that during a weekend retreat at they had a cabin in Northern California. They would just go. So they owned this cabin. They owned several, lands or some acres. And Laura and her friends were enjoying a peaceful evening around the campfire. No big deal. And they heard heavy footsteps coming from the woods. And assuming that it could be a bear, they said, let's go inside. They live in the city. They own a cabin. They go there just to get away from the craziness. So they're not outdoors women. So just to be safe. So they went inside and they looked through the window, and Laura's breath, this is the way she described it. I was like, well, I've never heard that before. She said Laura's breath caught in her throat. And I was like, what does that mean? She says, it's like I couldn't breathe. And she said she saw a tall figure, much too big to be a human or a bear. And she said it's standing right at the forest edge watching them. And I said, well, I mean, did it have long legs? Could it have been a bear standing? Because my thought was it was a bear standing and scratching. She said, no, it had long legs. Because, a big Kodiak or grizzly bear, they can stand, and they're pretty tall when they scratching, their back, or they're, putting scent on the tree. But their legs are, usually not very tall. She said, no, these were really long legs. And it terrified her. All of her friends saw it. They all saw it. And that bothered her. It bothered her so much. This was a place she loved going to get away from stress and work. It bothered her so much that she sold the property. See, that's what I'm saying. When something like that happens, this is a person who loved going there. This was her retreat away from the craziness. She's not selling a DVD. She's not selling a book. She's not doing television shows. She sold her, and she loved that place, but it bothered her that much. So, I mean, there was a gentleman, his name is Mark, and he was driving through a secluded mountain road late at night, and he noticed his headlights briefly shining on a tall silhouette standing by the side of the road. He dismissed it like as a tree stump at first, but he was startled. The figure turned its head to follow his car movement, and he said he almost crashed into a tree. He drove off faster, and he said the face had like a large ape human-like facial feature. That's the way he described it, and that startled him. I spoke to a fisherman in Oregon. His name is Dave. And so while fishing alone at dusk in a river in Oregon, Dave heard splashing upstream. Now he loved fishing, and that's what he did. He's passed away since. But he was there all the time. So he heard the splashing, a fish, he was very familiar with how fish makes it. He said, no, this was much bigger. And he glanced up and he saw a huge figure walking through the water toward the opposite bank. The creature, he said, was covered in dark hair, moved with surprising speed. I said, what do you mean surprising speed? And he said, because, he clearly saw it. He said the water was high enough to where it reached this creature's, waist. But he just moved right through it as if the water wasn't really enough to stop him or slow him down. And he was in terror. And he stayed quiet. In his boat, he didn't make any noise until the creature obviously went into the underbush and he took off. But again, he said this was a bigger creature, and it was probably, up to his waist, 5 feet maybe. And he was this creature, he said, was just moving just right along and not slowing at all. Yep. Another person, her name is Sandra. She moved. She moved as well. She moved. Sandra said that she was woken in the middle of the night. Her dog barking furiously at something outside. I mean, it just wouldn't stop. And she said when she turned on the porch light, she was shocked. She saw this massive shape. And I'm looking at her notes now. It was hunched over the bird feeder. I said, well, why would it be in the bird feeder? The creature then looked up briefly, meeting her eyes, and she saw this creature. She said, and well, the dog had like a doghouse and it had food. And so she said there was food outside, and she thought perhaps maybe the creature was hungry or something. I don't know. But originally she thought perhaps maybe this creature was looking for the dog. So she was, because there was dog food in the dog's pan. The dog comes in at night and stays outside and plays outside and that kind of stuff. But at nighttime, the dog always comes in because it kind of like, she just wanted that as a security. And so she was kind of thinking that it's possible that it was looking for the dog or the dog food. Nonetheless, it bent down, and she said in the back, there's a back porch. And then when you go over to the left, and there's the dog. And so she was maybe 10 feet away from this thing. It was all hair. It was like an ape-like. That's the way she described it. It was this ape-like creature, and it looked up and it took off. She moved. I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you move, like, that's pretty profound. And then one more, there was in the Appalachian Mountains, I talked to an individual who had a group of friends, and they said that it was a camping site, and it's a well-used site in the Appalachian Mountains. And a group of friends were startled because by a rustling of heavy footsteps around their tent. And when they went outside, they saw these massive footprints in the mud leading away from the tent. And they didn't see anything. They said they smelt a really bad odor, but they saw these clear. They didn't have any casts or anything like that to mold or to mold it. But they saw these massive footprints. And obviously this thing took off. But they said that it was like brushing against the tent. Like, no, I don't think so. This is why I'm not ever going to be going out in a tent. No more. And there was we'll do one more. There was in Kentucky, I spoke to a farmer. And he had always heard tales of this mysterious creature in Kentucky in the woods. But he was an old timer. He didn't believe any of it. But anyway, one evening, he found his usually skittish horses unusually calm. And he said they were silently staring toward the tree line, almost frozen in fear. Now, that wasn't normal for them. And then he was trying to look at what they were trying to, because all of the horses were just, and he said he was peering into a dim light. He spotted what he said was a tall figure. It was partially obscured by shadows, and it swiftly vanished into the undergrowth. And the horses remained fixated on that spot long after it had disappeared. But it bothered the horses so much that they were frozen. They were literally frozen in fear. And he said that was pretty profound. Okay, for those of you who are listening to this on podcast, I say good night to you guys. Yeah, I want to remind everybody that we do have this on podcasted, but we also, of course, don't forget, make sure you go to KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. Very, very important. KGRADB.com. I can't believe it's already done. Man, it's crazy. It goes by too fast. By the way, I am getting things ready for the trip to Los Angeles. I'm going to be going there in September, and I'll be staying at the Queen Mary. Staying there for a couple of days. I'll be doing a live show in September. Believe me, you'll know. I'll tell you all about it. We'll be doing some documentaries. So we're going to be working on that. Looking forward to that. That's going to be in September. And then October, I'm going to Scarefest. I'm doing a presentation, and I will be seeing Annabelle, and we'll be going live there as well. So we're looking forward to that as well. Okay, for those of you who are listening to this and watching this on KGRADB radio and all the social media platforms, remember I tell you all the time, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless. And don't let any troll tell you or convince you otherwise. Good night.